Good evening,
Okay.
everyone. It's 6:30. I'll call to order the regulars meeting of the Guilford Selectboard at 6:30 on Monday, February 27th. Greetings to everyone who's here for the meeting. See folks in the room and see folks online. The folks who are online, we need to have you're all identified, and we need to see your first and last name on your identification. So Galaxy Tab A, we need to see your first and last name, and same with Deborah's iPad. Normally you can go to a little box somewhere in your square that with 3 dots that allows you to rename yourself. So if you could do that, that would be great. If you're unable, we will, our practice is to put you in the waiting room until we see that your name has been changed. So we'll get the meeting started. Because we've updated our rules of procedure, I'm going to have Michael read those for us tonight. Are you ready to do that, Michael?
Yeah.
Thank you.
The Select Board recently adopted a new set of rules and procedures. They are no longer the Select Board rules of procedure. They are for all Guilford public body meetings and have now been shared with all committees and commissions. They are here, in chat online, and published on the town website. These rules request that everyone present at the meeting conduct themselves in a civil manner. Tonight, individuals will have a reasonable time to comment on actions the Select Board is considering. Comments and questions will inform the Select Board's decision-making process. Individual comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Comments will be heard, not responded to. There will be no exchange between the Select Board and a commenter. No questions will be responded to. Any questions raised will be recorded and responded to in a timely fashion. Additionally, here in the room and in the chat online, there is some basic information which includes how to contact Select Board members, how to secure a spot during the community comment portion of the meeting, how to get on the agenda, and how to communicate with the board via mail or email.
Thank you, Michael. And we'll talk about this further as we go along. All right, I want to just acknowledge that Galaxy Tab A, if we don't see your first and last name in about 10 seconds, we'll move you over into the waiting room until your name is changed, and then we can allow you back in the room. Thanks. Okay, I think go ahead and move Galaxy Tab A into the waiting room. Okay, before we get to the community comment period, I'd just like to make a very quick reference to the fact that there's some news in Guilford as of today that one of the candidates in one of the races for Select Board is withdrawing. There's information about that on the town website, on the front of the town website. There are a lot of questions flying around, which is perfectly reasonable. So there's information on the homepage about that. There's also information here in the room tonight. If you have any questions about the ballot going forward, those questions should all be addressed to Penny Marine, who is Guilford's town clerk. And as town clerk, she is in charge of the elections process in the town. So she'll have the best answers for all the questions. Select Board has no jurisdiction or very little jurisdiction when it comes to elections, and absolutely no jurisdiction at this point. So just to be clear about that. All right, we're looking at welcoming of the public.
Oh, yes. So we have one community comment tonight from Don McLean. So Don, take it away, unmute yourself. Uh-oh.
He hasn't unmuted yet.
Oh.
Unmute.
There we
Oh,
go.
great. Okay, terrific.
Okay, so it looks like almost, I see all the names of the people who are present, and they probably all are pretty much familiar with the Sugar on Snow Supper. But I will quickly remind you all that this Saturday, March 4th, Broadbrook Grange will present its Sugar on Snow Supper, which has been annual, except for the past 2 years when nothing was annual. And now we're happy that we're able to present that to you again. The menu features the wonderfully familiar ham, homemade baked beans, deviled eggs, mashed potatoes, coleslaw, rolls, donuts, and guess what? Guilford maple syrup on actual Guilford snow. And we also have pickles. And there are 3 seatings this Saturday, 5, 6, and 7 p.m. And especially the first 2 in the past have been very likely to fill up quickly and sometimes to sell out. So for any of those seatings, you should, if you wish to attend, make a reservation, which the information for which is on the Broadbrook Community Center website. That's a really good site to go to. It's $15 for adults and lower amounts for kids. And I think that's all I'm going to need to say about it. It takes place at the Broadbrook Community Center, which I hope you all know where that is, and look forward to seeing you there. Once again, the reservation information and all the other info is on the Broadbrook Community Center website. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Don.
That's it.
All right, thank you. Just make sure. Okay, so then I need to know if there are any changes to the agenda order. Here at the select board, I think there are none. Richard has entered in the wrong meeting, so I'm trying to get him, I've directed him to the website, and so we'll see if he comes that way. Thanks. All right, we need to now approve the minutes of the February 13th meeting. Is there a?
So moved.
Michael, thank you.
Second.
Second, Miranda, thank you very much. Is there any discussion at the board? All right, I'll take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
All right, Michael? Aye. Miranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye, so those minutes are approved. Thank you. And we'll move right ahead to the updates and reports. Talk to Danny at the highway.
Good afternoon, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'd like to apologize for Thursday night, I didn't show up to the meeting. It was a long day, and a long night, and I went home at 8, and when I woke up, it was like at 9:30. By that time, when I went outside, I said, oh crap. I was a little too late.
I hope everybody got home safely.
I mean, it was a real corny, we had some grit to it, so, I mean, but, we've been doing a lot of plowing lately, and some sanding, a lot of sanding. I got one truck in the shop right now doing a great job on one of the 1-tons. The other thing is I had to put a new sensor in a grader. I had to put a couple new batteries in the back of the other original batteries. We're doing maintenance on it. And then my other thing is I do have prices for tractor and chippers.
Yep.
I don't know if you want to hear them tonight or.
Well, I think that would be good. I think
Okay.
we should. If you have a recommendation.
So Dan, I just got an email tonight. Did you get the same?
I
one?
just got it. We've been playing phone tag. But that tractor will not be ready until September with a mower. A lot of well, let me go through, let's do the chipper first. I've gotten 2 prices on chippers, and it's through the Sourcewell. One of them is a Mobark, and it lists for $65,650. Mobark's gonna give us $5,500 for trade, and the price on that would be $60,150. And that machine is in stock. They have 2 of them in stock ready to go. The other one is a Bandit. It's another chipper. That one lists for $5,200, $746. And then we have got our Sourcewell discount, and then with our trade, they're gonna give us $5,000 for our chipper. And the total price would be $47,746.40. And that chipper is 4 months. And once we put the order in, if we go with that chipper, it's 4 months out. So I would prefer the one in stock, but I mean, that one's a little cheaper, so if we order the the Bandit, we'll get it probably maybe June, first part of June, and it's a little cheaper.
Okay. All right.
Richard is on, but he doesn't have his last name up.
Hello.
Hi, Richard. See you there. Can you add your last name to your Sure.
Okay. I'm on my phone here.
Okay.
Where do I do that?
You should be able to click 3 little buttons in your photo somewhere in your square.
It's probably not worth.
But go right ahead. You work on that. We'll keep going. All right.
But my recommendation is let's go with the Brush Bandit,
Uh-huh.
which would be, we're gonna have to wait a little bit to order it, which is a little cheaper. Your Mobile is probably, it's like your tractors. Your Kubota is a more expensive one. John Deere is cheaper. New Holland's in between them. But that's what my recommendation is. I'd like to go with the Brush Bandit.
Okay.
And that's through Champlain Valley.
That's $13,000 less, Danny.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
And then the other quotes I have is for, this is a Kubota, all set, it's on a lot, ready to go. That one is, this one here is, it lists for $184,145.17. They're gonna give us $24,000 for trade on our tractor. And net outright buy would be $160,145.17. And that's on the lot ready we could have it for this season. I have 2 other dealers. One just came in with a real low price. That tractor will not be ready until September, which is, I just had that written down.
90-day.
Pardon?
No, it's a different one that's not.
This is a different tractor. That was for 156,074.
Oh, I see.
And with our trade and everything, it would be 128,074. But that tractor won't be ready until September. And then I have another one through HP Fairfields, which was a John Deere and New Holland. The New Holland is 175,654. And the John Deere is 166,624. And those tractors won't be ready with mowers on them until September or October, somewhere in that area.
Those are list prices you're giving, right?
Right, those are, well, that's with our discount.
Yes,
So,
this
but is
one,
it,
this
I don't know
one.
if you were talking about dealer trade-in or sale by town.
What does sale by town mean?
A sale by town would say if we kept our tractor,
Mm-hmm.
try to get a little bit more outright
I see,
buy.
that's our price
Right.
for, okay. All right. So this would go down
So,
to 130.
Dan, are you suggesting the Kubota Champlain Valley and selling it yourself?
No, they're gonna give us a trade.
They're gonna give you
I'd say
20.
we just trade it and get rid of it. Otherwise, we may be sitting on it. So,
So it's gonna be 160,000.
Okay, I see.
no. Yes, it'd be 160,000 with trade. And we have money in our capital for equipment account for this.
Yes,
For both of these.
Yes.
So
Yes.
together, this sounds like about $220,000.
And then our big ticket item will be later on after town meeting, April, I'll get the grader. And I already have pricing through, but I haven't given them a date, and that's through Sourcewell too. And there's only 2 outfits for graders, it's either John Deere or Cat, so.
All right, so what do you need from us?
Well, I need, say yay and nay.
I make a motion that we purchase the Brush Bandit.
Mhm.
Um,
But I would like to go look at the Kubota first. I mean, I'd like to say, okay, yes, I would like to go look at it, see if it's something that we really want. If not, go back to square one.
So how about if we this evening follow Michael's recommendation and move to approve your purchase of the Brush Bandit chipper, and then and give you permission to go look if that's what you need at the tractor mower, and the provision would be that you buy it if. But we'll wait till the next meeting probably to approve that.
So I'd like to say, all right, this is okay. It's what we
Final
want,
recommendation.
and
Okay.
go from here.
All right. So Michael.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the purchase of the Brush Bandit chipper.
I will second it.
Thank you. Is there any discussion here at the board? Okay, just a second. So we're ready now to hear public information from the public regarding this motion. I'll call on people in turn if we see their names. Each person will have 3 minutes to provide a statement or opinion, and each person may comment one time. Because this is a comment period, there will be no exchange or no questions will be answered. There will be no back and forth with members of the select board, staff, or community. We're just hearing information from the community. As the select board considers this motion, this is the moment to hear from individuals about it. So is there anyone who would like to make a comment at this point? Okay, thank you. Then I think,
I have
oh,
a purchase order somebody got to sign.
okay,
So, I mean,
so we can do that.
that's for the chipper.
All right, thank you. All right, so we'll take the roll, take the vote then, please. So Rusty?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Okay, so, and then we'll wait to hear from you for the next.
Yes.
We won't bother to make a motion or anything. We'll just wait to hear a recommendation from you for next time.
And we'll
About the
thank
tractor.
you in advance for the snow that's coming tonight. Our gratitude to your staff, that's gonna be
Well, last week there was only 4 of us,
really.
so everybody had to pick up a little bit extra. So we had one guy that went to Florida on vacation.
Perfectly.
So we were playing musical vehicles.
Uh-huh, well, the roads were passable and I know that everybody was grateful.
Good. Thank you.
And we'll be hauling sand. I got a couple loads of salt today, so my sand pile's getting down.
Okay, well, keep us appraised. Thank
You
you.
have an
Dan, thank you
inside-
for researching all these quotes and
No problem.
getting good information for us.
Do you have an inside track on tonight's storm?
They're talking a little sleet mixed with this one tonight. Last time I knew it could be 4 or 6 inches. But then the one coming in on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is supposed to start a little snow, change to rain, and then back to snow.
Okay.
Hey,
Let's move on then, folks, to the next item on the agenda, which is under the old business category. This is business that that the select board has already had on the table at least once before. We're going to be looking at a revised procurement policy. We talked about this at our last meeting. So Sheila, I'll ask you to just lead us through this.
Right, we actually adopted this policy in January, so very recently. And at the last meeting, we just agreed to add the sentence that says,
I can read it.
you can read it?
As an alternative to issuing requests for proposals, the town may use the competitive procurement price solicitation process provided by the Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program. All right?
And that is all I added, that's the only change in that policy.
All right, so I'll make a motion that we add this sentence to the procurement policy and update it once again this evening.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any discussion here at the board level about that? We already talked about this last time. Okay?
In that paperwork I gave you,
Yes.
there is a Sourcewell discount. You'll see if anybody's in, it gives us what our discount was through Sourcewell.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll take it. I see. Okay. All right. Okay. So is there anyone in the community who would like to make a comment? You have a couple, 3 minutes to make a comment. Again, this, because it's a comment period, there'll be no exchange between the select board and commenters. We're just listening in case there's anything you'd like to say for us to consider as we consider this motion. Alrighty, so I'll take the vote then. Rusty?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Azan says aye. Thank you very much. That passes. All right, now we move on to new business. This is business that has not come to the select board before in this particular form. We have, the first item on the agenda is it's a typo, but
Yeah,
an ARPA
it's a-
grant application for Friends from Algiers Village. Okay, not an AARP
Nice.
grant application, but yeah, that's nice, okay. So we have in our, the select board has a grant proposal from the Friends of Algiers that we've all looked at. The policy that we've adopted, or the procedure we've adopted to deal with this, is that proposals can come to the select board as they will in the course of time here, and that each then would be forwarded to a subcommittee to be reviewed and to get a recommendation. So that would be the way we would want to deal with this evening. I would write it following our procedure. So I think that what I would recommend is that we accept this proposal onto the table and that we forward it right away to the subcommittee. And that would be Richard and Michael in consultation with 2 members of the Planning Commission, which are ready to move forward to, if you two could take hold of that, then we could have a recommendation from you at the next meeting. Does that seem reasonable?
Seems like a reasonable approach to me.
All right. Let's see. I wonder if there's any, maybe I would be good if I would just characterize briefly what the proposal is about. And so the community can hear it, and then we'll make a motion. I'll go ahead and make the motion that we accept the proposal and forward it to the subcommittee. So is there a second for that?
Sure.
Thanks.
I second that.
Thanks, Miranda seconded it. All right. Good. So the proposal is from the Friends of Algiers, and it deals with, it's in the amount of $60,221 to address building and business needs for the successful operation of businesses housed at the Broadbrook,
Guilford.
at the Broadbrook House.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, commonly known as the Guilford Country Store.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Okay, so the proposal comes with a list of needs and anticipated expenditures that would be covered by the $60,000. So is there any discussion here at the board about this proposal of any nature, or that we have any difficulty passing it on to the subcommittee?
Actually,
Yes.
I am going to recall that I think I should step down from this particular, my role on this subcommittee for this particular instance,
I see, because of your,
based on my work that I did with the Friends of
Okay.
Algiers.
All right.
So I think we would need another
all right.
select board representative.
Is there would Rusty or Miranda be willing to step up and help process this application?
Yeah, I'll do it as long as we can do it via.
Yeah, okay, we'll make sure, we'll make sure that works. Okay, thank you, Rusty. Thank you, all right. Okay. All right, is there any comment from the community? All right. Doris.
Am I, so there's no like back and forth?
There'll
it's
be
just
no back and forth. We will take questions. If you have questions, we'll record them and get them answered to you, either to you
Okay,
or.
my question is that the store down there is a commercial entity. And it seems as though that's like a lot of money to put into something that's actually generating money. When we have buildings in town, the Historical Society is in dire need of a paint job, at least. The thing across not the church, but whatever it is, the meeting house is in dire need of a roof or roof fixtures, ceiling fixtures, that don't really have a way of generating money to, it seems to me like if you have a store that has two businesses, I'm assuming the cupcake business is still in there, that it's making money, that I don't know why this one-time money should go to something like that. No offense, Ann, but I'm just.
Thank you. All right. Ann, do you want to speak to this?
You know what, Connie and Jason also.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I say, Connie?
I guess I don't have any absolute knowledge of this, but I've been under the impression that the store and businesses inside it have been given ARPA money recently. And it doesn't seem to me as though, if that is true, that there should be a second round going to the same entities.
Okay, thank you. Jason, I see your hand.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman, Select Board members. I kind of want to tie in with Connie. I think the Friends of Algiers has received in the first round of ARPA funds, they received $60,000. When you think about it, there were 3 businesses that received money in the town of Guilford. All 3 of them were directly associated with the Friends of Algiers. The one business received, I think, $40,000, and they're no longer a part of the town of Guilford. That's the residents that sold their part of the business. Now, the Friends of Algiers is full of people, of well-to-do and very fortunate people that want to somehow own this building, but they want to fund it with taxpayer money. This is outrageous that all of this money is going to the Friends of Algiers. When you look at the conflicts, I mean, I have to point this out, but our town administrator is also our Finance Advisory Committee chairman, and she's also the treasurer of the Friends of Algiers. And all of this money is going to the Friends of Algiers. This is wrong. It's wrong. And Rusty, if you're going to be on this committee, I hope you do something about this, because there's a lot of businesses that just don't want to ask for this money. And here we are, because the Friends of Algiers are professionals at writing grants and achieving their goals of getting these funds, that they're the only ones that are receiving any money in Guilford. This is.
Thank you, Jason. All right. Jason, just to be really clear, all comments need to be directed to the chair. All right, not to other select board members. Tammy, I see your hand.
Yeah, I was wondering, I know you can't answer the question, but maybe I'm hoping that you could share the proposal that was shared with you, so that those of us that want to see the proposal before you guys do make a decision on it, we understand the details of the proposal and why they need this money.
Okay, thank you. All right. Any other comments?
I mean, I'm trying to respect your rules of procedure, and so I don't know if you want me to respond to these comments or not. I don't know what's
You're free to offer whatever comments you feel will help us and make our decision.
Sure. First of all, Friends of Algiers has asked for nor received any money from the town in the past in the ARPA funding. I understand the confusion though, because both the Guilford Country Store and I believe that Top Tier Bakery also did ask for money. And I think there are a couple different buckets, as I understand it, of ARPA funds, where they were asking for some relief having to do with employees, things like that. Our request has to do with a transition in ownership and a realization that when we bought the equipment for operating the store primarily over 10 years ago, it was all second or third hand, and it's pretty much gone on its last legs. We also decided that it made sense for us, Friends of Algiers, to own the equipment and to make sure that the store could continue in a consistent way. If there's a break in ownership, that we would be able to get a new owner in there quickly, because it's a huge upfront cost for a new person. So we wanted to buy the equipment that is necessary. We have done that partway in the past, but partly not. At any rate, we pay full taxes. We have never taken a break, even though we're a nonprofit, on taxes or asked for any kind of exemption. We have never applied for any funds from the town before. Yes, we have written and received grant money before. I would say most of our funds have come from grant money, whether it's from the state or the federal government or private foundations. So we've worked really hard. We believe in a commercial center for the village of Algiers. We think it's been a huge benefit to the entire town to create a place where people can gather and a commercial spot. So yeah, I understand what maybe Dolores, it was you who said about the nonprofits that need support, and like the meeting house. I'm really concerned about the meeting house too. I do think that this is totally within the realm of the ARPA funding. So I felt that it was a worthy grant because it's to support commercial, and that's part of what ARPA is designed to do. So I'm happy to share the proposal with anybody, but I don't know what your procedure is on that. So, I mean, I can send it electronically to anyone who wants to see it.
Yeah, all right. Well, I don't think we have a stance right now. I think, let's see, technically it's come to us, so it's technically our business. So it's, until we act on it, it's probably not available for the public.
I'm thinking about the ARPA subcommittee. Have they submitted copies of other grant applications as part of their report? I don't know how you want to.
I think that, I mean, in the very first, I mean, this is a process conversation that we're having. In the very first round of ARPA grants, our challenge was to do it openly, because that concerned private citizens, we didn't identify the people, but I believe that that we made our decisions in the open.
The decisions were made in the open, but the information about the particular applications was not made open to the public.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that the process that we've devised is that this would go to this subcommittee, and the subcommittee would make a recommendation to us based on the merits of the proposal and the guidelines, the ARPA guidelines. So I'm not going to answer this evening. I don't know the right answer for making it available to the public. Let me think about it for a little bit, and when it comes time, then I think we can do that. I see Steve.
Yeah, Steve Lemke, Green River. My opinion would be that it goes to the subcommittee, and the subcommittee brings a recommendation, a yay or nay, back to the select board. And if it's yay, then you would share it. I would be very interested at that point to see the list of things that the money's going to go to. I think that will make a difference in the understanding of where the money's going and for what purpose.
Okay, thank you. All right. So the motion that we have on the floor is to accept this proposal from Friends of Algiers, forwarded to the subcommittee, the newly personed subcommittee, and I see that Richard has slipped off the meeting, it looks like. And then we'll have a recommendation at our next meeting for how the select board can respond about awarding this grant or not. All comfortable? Mm-hmm. All right, I'll take the roll then. I'll take the vote. Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
Zon says aye, and we'll leave it at that. No, Richard. Okay. Let's see who comes back. All right. Thank you very much, folks. Thanks for all those good comments. Now we're going to move on to a new idea that's shaping up in town about a regional policing policy. Guilford is one of the towns in Windham County that this year has opted not to hire policing services. And yet, we're now entering into a conversation that's working through, I think, the Wyndham Regional Commission and the local authorities about the idea of banding together with other towns to secure policing services. I'll let Sheila speak to it, though.
Thank you. So there have been a lot of conversations in the region about inadequate policing. And Mark Anderson, the head of the Wyndham Sheriff County's office, had convened a group of people in town administrators and others in the community, in the region. And he describes the problem as members of the public within Wyndham County receive inconsistent and non-uniform policing, resulting in the lack of response to reported crimes, being disenfranchised by lack of access to service, and an increased propensity for vigilantism. So I'm just going to briefly describe why he called this. He said, currently the state is responsible for policing for the purpose of consolidating certain existing police and investigating agencies to promote detection and prevention of crime generally, and to participate in searches for lost or missing persons, and to assist in cases of statewide or local disasters and emergencies. That's it. The county sheriff is mandated to serve court processes and to provide transportation of prisoners to and from court. Vermont law permits sheriffs to enter into agreements to perform other services. And Guilford has had contracts with both the Vermont State Police and the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office. But there's not data on what's not being accomplished through policing in the region. And so Mark is trying to collect policing data, policing needs data, and then convening a working group to figure out if there can be next steps in the region in Wyndham County. That's basically it.
Yeah, I was at that Zoom meeting as well, and I mean, one of the challenges is that the data isn't available, let's say, to a select board to know what kind of law enforcement needs our community has. I suppose we could put out a call to people in the community and try to gather our own information about what is happening here and what the shortfall is, but that law enforcement can't provide that information to us. I thought that was really interesting and sort of a quandary.
Or to each other.
Yeah.
They don't get data. Vermont State Police and Wyndham County Sheriff's Office don't share data.
I see. So do you understand, is there an effort is someone thinking about the idea of collecting this kind of data or doing this kind of work? Or is the idea that eventually there would just be offering some services and without data we would somehow enter into service contracts?
They're going to try to
build some data.
I think that it may be that the communities need to ask for this data from the two different entities, because they don't, it's really weird.
Clear.
Yeah.
It was clear that they wanted to have a working group of concerned people who wanted to try to hammer out something that would upgrade the services that towns got.
So to that extent, I'm really applauding that Guilford's part of this discussion and will continue to be going forward, I hope,
Yeah,
I know it's a
when
real
we hear
concern.
next.
Yeah, there's been no next step yet, but this is just the initiation of a
All right.
process.
So there's no action here for us this evening, just a report. Thank you. All right, folks, we'll move on to the next point in our agenda, which is a review of the draft personnel policy. And I'm going to turn this one over to Sheila because she's done some extensive work here on this policy and we need to take a few moments to understand it.
So we actually tabled this from the meeting of the 13th, reviewing this policy. And I think there was an objection voiced at that time that the select board doesn't really discuss topics at hand. And so I thought we would go through this step by step tonight so that people will understand the process and what the select board does in advance of select board meetings. So it is the town administrator's responsibility to review policies and make recommendations to the select board as deemed necessary. A review of the personnel policy was prompted by inconsistencies in the current policy and an ever-changing legal landscape around personal issues. I integrated the VLCT recommended model policy with the town's current policy, comparing and adapting where necessary and updating segments per legal advice. I annotated each edit, each addition, each deletion in the document, and then I put that annotated draft into the select board folder for members to review and study as they prepare for informed and efficient discussions during the meeting. That means that the select board members come to the meeting prepared with questions, comments, edits, etc., if any.
Okay, Sheila, I just got a message from Richard saying that he's in the waiting room.
Is that him?
Telephone.
He lost his internet down there, so please
Okay.
go on.
All right, thank you. He's in.
I'm here now on phone.
Okay, good. So as I said, select board meetings come to the meeting, select board members come to the meeting prepared with questions, edits, comments, if any. After the discussion, if there is any, the final draft may or may not be returned to the VLCT for legal review. In the case of a personnel policy, it will be reviewed by the VLCT. Once they review and approve or recommend changes, the draft may be worked on further or accepted and adopted by the select board. So we have a 20-something page document with notes on and comments and edits and deletions on every single page, many notes. We can go through it note by note and have that discussion tonight. I anticipate that it will take about 20 to 25 minutes, or we can, people can ask specific questions, make comments, etc., and we can deal with it that way. And I am at your service. I have it up. I don't have copies here. I have it up to work on.
Would it be possible to
Share the document?
share the document and we could maybe zip through it? And,
I have to get on to a different computer to do
oh,
that.
and then never mind.
It'll take me some time to do
Yes,
that.
yeah. Okay. I don't think that's right.
So you all let me know what you want to do.
Well, why don't we go through?
I would suggest that we don't go through it point by point. I think we've all had time to read it several times, to read the changes.
That's fine. I just
Yes.
was giving you the option.
Mhm. I think it's important for the community to understand that we have gone through all of this over and over and over, and different eyes have seen it and made various comments. So I think it would be important to talk through, what would you
To
call it?
identify the salient
Yeah,
points.
important changes.
Okay.
Yeah, Sheila, perhaps you could sort of characterize the kinds of changes that you made, and then we could, because it seemed like that there was a kind of shift in well, just clarity and specificity.
So there was one major section of this policy was wrong, in that we're inconsistent, in that we had at will, we described the personnel contractor, the employment as at will with the town, so it could be terminated by either the employee or the employer at any time for no cause. But we also had a process by which employees were reviewed on an annual basis, and there was remedies for inadequate performance were built into and so those are mutually incompatible terms. So we now have a completely at-will personnel policy, and that there's a lot of legal language that goes into that, but It was also reorganized and some sections were teased out so that what used to be drug, alcohol, tobacco, and something else is now separated into separate things, separate sections. This policy defines the status of employment as it does. It lists defines how this town is an equal employment opportunity employer. Pretty much hours of service are the same. Outside employment, it's exactly the same. Political activity was formerly part of employee conduct, political activities, use of computers, use of town equipment. It's now the same, but it's just separated out.
Would it be useful to talk, just so it's clear to folks in the community, because it has been an issue in the past, the notion of conflict of interest and how the town views it? Were any changes made there in the policy?
I'm going back to conflicts of interest.
Section 5.
Yep. No,
Okay.
it's the same.
All right. I think it would be fair to characterize, at least as I understand it, that the primary notions of conflict of interest relate to financial gain that a person might find, and that we want to be very careful about that.
And that's in the policy.
But yeah, for private gain or personal purposes, yep.
Right.
So, yeah. Let me see if this is, yeah, outside employment, political activity.
Oh, there was also in section 6, the addition of an employee may choose to work remotely from time to time as long as their duties are fulfilled and the public is well served. I think that was an important change.
I mean, that's been the practice for the last few years, and so, but it wasn't reflected in the personnel policy. Yes.
No, and also there wasn't real clarity about the public being well served.
There's a whole section of prohibited conduct under drug and alcohol use, which is absolutely brand new. And it just indicates the actions that are prohibited in the workplace on municipal property while using municipal equipment or during any time period in which you are on municipality business. And it's drugs and alcohol related.
And was the nepotism policy, it was sort of pulled out from employment of family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, yes, it was section 7027, employment of family, and it was pulled out. And they organized it, the model policy is organized differently, so I followed the model policy organization and their language and combined it with our language, but this one is just about exactly the same.
Mm-hmm. And so the performance evaluation, I could use a little more clarity about employment at will and performance evaluations. You alluded to something before that, and I just want to make sure I understand it properly.
I think in the prior versions of our employee policies, it was codified that if an employee, if the performance review wasn't satisfactory, then there was a process by which the employee would be given a warning, be given specific goals for improving. If that didn't happen, they would have it again, and then they would have it again. And that is excluded from that. None of that is in here now. There is simply an annual performance review which goes into the folder. There's nothing, there's no formal cure process, no formal.
Okay.
That's part of the policy.
That's part of, yes.
Yeah.
Sheila, do we have to vote on this?
I think not. I think we just need to, my impression, I may be wrong, but my impression is we're accepting the good work that's been done here, and then we'll forward this once more to VLCT for their review. And then when it comes back from VLCT, then we would adopt it as a policy.
If there are no changes
Yeah.
to what's been
Yeah.
proposed.
Yeah.
So the personal use of social media section is entirely new and, you know, really gratifying because there are appropriate uses of it and it has its utility to the town, but it really, like all social media, it's a loose place. And I appreciated that,
And that is word from the VLCT policy.
yeah.
It's new to our policy and word for word from the model policy. The public records section is also new to our policy and drawn from the model policy.
Mhm. Yeah, and I think I sent you the note about section 19, which was holiday leave, and I was, well, sort of shocked that Martin Luther King, his birthday observed isn't one of the actual holiday leave days, especially because the town has gone through all this business about being a compassionate community and signing on to just DEI, equity, diversity, and inclusivity. And I don't, even if this is borrowed from the League of Cities and Towns model policy, I feel as if we're living with a contradiction here. And I don't know exactly what we should do about it, but I'm objecting as a select board member.
So I will say that in the model policy, there are 13 holidays specified. And
One of which is Martin Luther King.
One of which is Martin Luther King. And I gave that list to the road crew. And they said they would prefer to have floating holidays to choose among which ones they wanted to participate in. So we added a day. There were 8 holidays and 4 floating holidays, and this policy adds one more day for holiday, which is at the road crew's request, Veterans Day. Right, Dan? Is that what they asked?
Yeah.
Veterans Day? And then, but keeps the 4 floating holidays. We do have Indigenous Peoples' Day in October. And people can choose to take Martin Luther King Day. Or we could remove and make it 3 floating holidays and add Martin Luther King Day. I don't have a stake in this. It was just after talking with the biggest group of employees in the town.
Right.
It's whatever you guys want to do. I mean, if you want to switch another day for Martin Luther King Day, I mean, you can do whatever you
Yeah,
want.
I think that I would be, personally, just looking at the schedule of the days, I would be inclined towards something like that, simply because there's no scheduled holiday from January 1st until the last day of May. So it seems to me that to schedule a holiday in there would be, makes a kind of spatial sense.
If you want to
Snowstorms.
switch veterans for Martin Luther King Day, that would be.
Snowstorms.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, I just felt the obligation to note it,
whichever.
I would be comfortable, would you be comfortable with the exception, the idea of putting in Martin Luther King Day as a holiday and then changing the floating holidays to 3 days?
I'm not picky.
That'd work.
I'd be in support of that.
All right, okay. Any other thoughts at the board, Rusty or Richard? No, okay,
That's okay with me.
okay, let's do that then.
Connie has a comment.
Who?
Question, Connie.
Okay, we'll come to that in a minute, Connie, thank you. All right, so,
So the
Hang on,
other,
I just gotta-
the other issue that came up was section 23 about parental and family leave. And it says that if your municipality has fewer than 10 employees, this entire section should be omitted unless the municipality wishes to observe the Vermont is it VPFLA?
Yeah.
Parent?
Family Leave Act.
Yeah,
So-
what is VP?
Vermont's
P.
family,
P.
parental leave.
Parental
And Family Leave
Leave Act, okay.
So the reason I left that in there for discussion purposes is that we've used it twice in the past year.
No, I'm all for it.
So it's just, I thought it makes sense that it's a benefit that is of use to our employees
Yes.
Has been
and has
used.
been appreciated.
Yeah, I think we should leave it.
I would like to go back to 21 sick leave and carryover of paid leave. This is another thing that I talked to Danny and his people about, because we have traditionally carried over 1,200 hours or 30 weeks of sick leave, paid accrued sick leave. And the history in that, from what I understand, is that happened before we had short-term and long-term disability. So it's been changed to 40, you can accrue a maximum of 40 sick leave days, or 8 weeks, 320 hours. Upon separation from employment, an employee will not be compensated for unused sick leave, and that just made a lot more sense to.
It's kind of in keeping, a little closer in keeping with other
Yeah.
things I'm aware of, yeah.
Crime victim leave is a brand new section. Eligible employees who are crime victims may be entitled to take unpaid leave for a number of specific reasons. I'm looking to see if there's any other. A lot of this is word for word what we had before.
I don't see any other.
I don't see any other big ones, any other
Changes.
significant
Okay.
ones, so.
All right, so I think that what we'll do is, we don't need to take any action this evening, but we do need to forward this on to VLCT. For best practices, and make sure that they take another review of it, and then we'll have an opportunity to look at it one more time and approve of it. Since we're not taking any action, but I will open it up for comments from the floor if there are any comments.
I just have two quick things. Number one, I'm very grateful that you're doing this discussion in front of us rather than just saying, okay, here's the policy, it's been changed, and no hint as to how it's been changed or why or anything, so I'm grateful for that. And I also don't know whether I misunderstood you when you said the period of time that there's no holidays at the beginning of the year, from when until the end of May, you said?
That's been the practice.
From the 1st of January?
January 1st to
Yeah.
May 30, Memorial Day.
Okay, so this is we don't do President's Day?
It's not, it's.
No,
it's-
there's 4 floating holidays, and there were 8, and there are now 9 specified holidays.
Now there are 10.
There were 8, there are now
We
10,
just
that's
added-
right,
we just-
yeah,
And 3
yes, and
floating
3
ones.
floating.
So that people have choices
So
between.
it's not like people can't take a holiday off, they just have to choose their own,
Okay, so President's Day has never been a set holiday that they've taken on. Interesting.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was surprised to
Yeah,
see that
that's
too.
really
Okay,
weird.
anything else? Steve, okay.
I have several questions that could be answered in due course, but
All right.
is the current policy and the new policy public policy?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
Is the current personnel policy public?
Yeah, it's on the website.
Okay, and the new policy, I'm assuming would be there, so anybody who's interested can compare the two once it's done. Does it apply to salaried full-time and part-time employees?
Yes,
Does it apply to the select board?
no,
Okay. And I'm assuming VLCT acts only in an advisory capacity.
yes.
I love Ira and we'll talk to you soon.
Tammy's got it.
That's Nancy Detra. You can ask her, you can meet her.
Get the right mouse here and.
Okay, folks, thank you very much. Good, strong
I see a hand
discussion.
up.
Jason's got a hand up.
Oh, I'm
No,
sorry.
Tammy's got a hand up.
Tammy Sargent, I'm sorry. Tammy?
That's okay. I was just looking for clarification. I think I heard that there were 4 floating holidays that the town crew could use. And Veranda requested that you change it to only 3 floating holidays, that she wants one of them to be a mandatory holiday, that they have to take it on the day she wants it. Is that correct?
Well, I wouldn't say it quite like that, but yes, that's the
Okay,
idea.
but-
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Maybe. Okay, that just seems bizarre to me that one select board member would request the town crew to take the holidays when they want them to. If a floating holiday is a floating holiday, I don't know why that one holiday should be forced upon them if they would rather it be a floating holiday. So that's my comment.
Thank you. Okay. All right, folks, let's look at the warrants.
Oh.
Brenda?
Oh, this is so sudden.
Thanks, Dan.
Good night, Dan.
Thank you.
Okay, I move that we pay the following warrants. Payroll week, February 19th, 2023 for the sum of $6,373.88. For February 26th, 2023 for the sum of $7,001.79. And expense warrant number 2216 for the sum of $38,413.59 for a total of $51,794.26.
I'll second that. Is there any discussion here at the board?
I mean, there was the usual, I didn't have a chance to write down exactly all the figures, but we've got, the highway portion of it, sand, salt, and diesel. And there was $24,178 for this warrant period for the highway department. Legal fees are $3,570, 100% related to Jason Heron versus the town of Guilford. And I understand that that's 26.4% of the total municipal operating expenses for this warrant period. There's also $1,000 to replenish our bulk mail account with the United States Postal Service, of which $578 was used to mail out the town report.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sheila, for helping me with some of the details on that.
All right, is there any discussion on the warrants? All right, I'll take the roll. Rusty?
Aye.
Richard?
Aye.
Thank you. Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Thanks very much, folks. Okay, now we come to the other portion, the next portion of the meeting, which is called Other Business. And tonight, our other business will be to acknowledge that this is Richard Wazansky's last meeting as a select board member. And so, huzzah! And to help us celebrate that fact, Veranda has a small, but I'm sure brilliant poem.
Well, okay, so Richard, I'm so sorry I can't see your embarrassment through your telephone number, but here we go. Okay. And part of this is a composite appreciation of you from other people. Dear Richard, our colleague, and not so long ago, our sturdy chair, allow us a moment of emotion after the motions and seconds, discussions, and all the roll call votes except your final favorite. We pause to celebrate your qualities. And these are sort of quotes. I appreciate his kind demeanor and sense of humor. I appreciate his desire to make the world a better place. I admire how tough he is in the face of adversity. I appreciate the time he has donated and the sacrifice he has made while serving the town of Guilford. I notice his great questions and his calling the question and his patience in the face of assaults on his integrity. I value his clear mind, his willingness to hear and hold multiple points of view. I admire his commitments to efficiency and thoroughness. I appreciate his wicked sense of humor and his broad smile." Unquote. Richard, even when equipment falters, you are always here, engaged and aware, in this conference room or from a Zoom square or a cell, before the call to order until the last action taken. Let us make a meal of our gratitude on your return. Till then, adjournment and amen.
Thank you so much.
And so, Richard, we're taking up a collection to make a meal for you, not at home.
I love it. Thank you so much, everybody. That is just very beautiful, and thank you for including those quotes. I'm, as we would say in Yiddish, quelling.
Verklempt.
Verklempt. Well, thank you, Richard. We won't lose track of you.
And it's, let me also add that it's been a pleasure to be on the select board, to serve with my colleagues and to serve my community, which was the reason I accepted the challenge to run for the select board and to become chairman and to serve.
Thank you very kindly. All right, folks, then we move on to our next item on the agenda, which is communications, and I don't think there are any this evening.
I sent Richard a report from the Energy Committee.
Oh, Richard, do you have that?
Oh.
I was unaware of that.
I don't have anything. All of my technology except for my phone is on the wax, so I did read it, but it was a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we, can we bring it, its characterization forward at the next meeting? Yes.
Yes, I would advise, let's do that at the next meeting.
Thank you. All right. All right, folks, now for the next part of our agenda, we will be going into executive session. So before I move to go into executive session, I just want to explain what will happen. Folks here in the room, you're invited to wait in the other room or outside. We'll come look for you afterward. Folks that are on the call online, I see some of you leaving already. That's fine. We will place all of you in the waiting room. And if you're here after our executive session, we will invite you back in. So I
need
move.
me on?
Yes.
Sorry,
And
Richard.
we will. I move that we that the select board move into executive session to discuss personnel issues per 1 VSA section 313A3 to discuss the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer employee. And I ask that we include Sheila Morse into the executive. We invite Sheila into the executive
I
session.
second the motion.
Thank you, Richard. Is there any discussion about that? All right, I'll take the roll. Rusty? Richard?
Yes.
Thank you. Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zahn says aye. So we will now move into executive session. Good evening. It's now 8 o'clock, and I will move that we exit executive session. So I will take the roll. Rusty?
Wait, somebody got a second?
Oh, second.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Sorry. You're right. Rusty?
We made the motion, have we?
No, we're coming out of executive session.
Yeah, aye.
Yes, Richard?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Miranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. Thank you very much. And then the motion, I will move that the select board approve the salary adjustment we discussed to market compatibility for an employee effective immediately. Is there a second?
Second the motion.
Thank you, Richard. All right, is there any discussion? Here at the board? Okay, I will take the roll then. Richard?
Aye.
Rusty?
Aye.
Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. All right, thank you. So we will move on now to the next thing. I'll make a list here quickly of the actions from the previous meeting. Bear with me, folks. We approved minutes of 2 prior meetings. We approved.
Those were the actions from the previous meeting.
Don't I have to read them?
Okay.
Yeah, so I think I do. From the previous meeting, we approved minutes of 2 prior meetings. We approved working with Sourcewell. We approved professional audit engagement letter. We accepted an e-bike grant award. We approved increasing the planning commission membership from 5 to 7. We retroactively appointed personnel subcommittee. We tabled discussions of revisions to the personnel policy till tonight. We approved the warrants and we voted to extend offers to assist the town treasurer and town administrator preferred candidates. Now, for this evening, our actions were that we approved the minutes. We approved a purchase of a chipper at Dan's recommendation. We approved a revised procurement policy. We adopted the procurement policy by adding 1 sentence. We accepted a grant from the Friends of Algiers and will be forwarding an application to the, a grant application to the from the Friends of Algiers, and we'll forward that to the subcommittee for review and reaction for next week. And we approved the warrants.
And agreed to send the
Yeah,
draft personnel policy.
We didn't act on it, but we agreed to send the draft personnel policy to the Vermont League of Cities and Towns.
Is it important to say that we revised the subcommittee membership? Or is
It
that
probably
not?
would, thank you, Verena, that would be worth saying. For the ARPA grant application, we needed to revise the subcommittee group. And so that will now be Rusty and Richard, and working with 2 members of the Planning Commission. All right, then we went into executive session. We came out of executive session and approved a salary adjustment for 1 employee. And I think that's it for tonight. So the next action would be to...
I move that we adjourn.
Thank you, Richard. Spoken like the regular guy. Are there any... Our regular guy, is there any second for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Miranda. All right, I will take the roll then.
Is there any conversation
Is there
about it?
any conversation about leaving early this evening, leaving at this moment? All right, Richard.
Aye.
Thank you. Rusty?
Aye, nice working with you, Richard.
Yes.
Nice to
Michael?
work with you, Rusty.
Michael?
Aye.
Veranda?
Aye.
And Zan says aye. And I also second, on behalf of the full select board, once again, thank you, Richard, for your work and your help. And we'll see you
We've still got
around.
another week, he's got a subcommittee thing to
Yeah, I'm sorry, there was 2 things going on at once. Richard?
I said it's been an honor.
Absolutely.
Well, and he's on the subcommittee,
Yes,
so.
exactly. You're not done quite yet.
I'll still be on the subcommittee. I don't
Yes.
I don't talk until March.
All right, thank you all. So this meeting is now adjourned.
Thank you. Good night.
8:05. Good night, everyone.
Nighty-night.
See you all.